Hello everybody and welcome back to Europa, where we are currently chilling after having just taken a bunch of territory. Now, France is currently in a defensive war against the HRE. They, I believe, were guaranteeing Piedmont, and the HRE attacked Piedmont. So we hope that France wins that, or at least doesn't lose badly. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But I think France probably has that under control, right? The HRE did have a huge army down here, but their army appears to have shifted up over this direction. So we'll keep an eye on that. But for now, what we're most interested in is paying off our existing loan. Now, we need 1914 ducats for that. We are going to have that very soon, like 2 months? Yeah, 2-month ticks. So we're going to get that paid off. And then after that, we've got 459k manpower. Can we help out France in any meaningful way here? Because I want to make sure that France can win this war, ideally. I mean, they've got a lot of manpower, that's for sure. But they are actually technically losing this war right now. So what can we do here? I would normally just offer to join their war, because that would be great. We could intervene in the war, actually. But France is not the war leader. And we can only intervene if there's an imbalance of great powers and we're joining the weaker side. In this war, there are two great powers, France and the HRE. So we can't directly intervene. Noted. We could send them money. Can we offer Condottieri for, like, really, really, really cheap? I don't think so. I don't even remember how to do that. Condottieri is something I don't usually do. Is that something in here? I think they have to request the Condottieri. I don't think we can offer it. I would offer it for free. I want the HRE to get cut down a bit here. Well, we'll see what happens. Currently, France is losing that war, though. I'd very much like to get involved in it. Ooh, that's not great for France. They're going to get that army stack wiped. Actually, it didn't wipe. Okay. Religion in one of our territories changed to Catholic. That's not great. We don't love that. This is Thrace and Scandinavia. Who's Scandinavia fighting? Oh, Scandinavia is fighting the HRE. Yes. We absolutely allow them military access. Anything that will hurt the HRE, we're happy about right now. Because what we don't want here, there's an actual danger here to us. What we don't want here is France to do one of two things. One, either be forced to annul their alliance with us in a peace deal, or two, be so weakened by this war that the HRE declares on us with the coalition war. That would be very, 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 very bad for us. So we want to ideally make sure that France can't do that. So I'm kind of saving up money right now. We might throw some money at them. I don't know how much money they have. This doesn't really say, but okay, we just lost our cultural union. Okay, so we lost the empire there. That's fine, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't really affect us that much. So for now, that's a-okay. Now, one thing we can think about doing is increasing our own military power by boosting up our aristocratic ideas here. Does this actually do too much for us, though? Actually, no. We have basically what we want out of this. So that's noted. One thing we do absolutely need is we need to get an admin tech. And we have one too many diplomatic relations. Okay, that's fair enough. We're actually pretty close to being able to annex Armenia, aren't we? Out over this direction, Armenia's at 179. They're still disloyal. They're rebellious. But let's improve relations with them. And let's keep an eye on that. I mean, they're at 100% liberty desire. This is because of people backing their independence. There's not too much we can do about that. So we can't really annex them, but we just got about 2,000 ducats. How's this war going now? Minus 13? I feel like the war is turning. Yeah. France is starting to push them out at this point. So that's a very good thing. If we look in here, we can see it's still at minus 13. But here's a big French army fighting a moderately sized HRE army, and they just stack wiped them. Can the HRE replace that? No. They're down to 0 manpower. They've only got 435,000 troops. Now, that's more than what France has right now, but France has 446,000 manpower. So France can take these hits. The HRE can't. Now, this battle doesn't look great for France. Actually, they won that and stack wiped again. Wow. That was because of the timely intervention of Navarre there. Navarre's in this war? So they are. Holy Roman Purge of Piedmontese Heresy. Well, okay. There's not a lot we can do here other than watch. Why is there a British army here? Oh, Britain is in the war against the HRE too. Scandinavian Holy Roman Imperialist War. That makes sense. Scandinavia is allied with Britain, so it makes sense that they call them in for that. Okay, so this is why the war has turned. France was losing the war when it was just France versus the HRE. But when it's France versus the HRE, and also Scandinavia and Britain versus the HRE, that's a different story. So I feel like we're in a lot better of a position now. Just because France is less likely to be interested in piecing out now. Because I feel like they're straight up winning this war now. They haven't turned around the war goal, or rather the war score yet. But the HRE has to respond up here, and we've watched France stack wipe multiple HRE armies at this point. So this is looking good for France, which is good for us. So I'm not terribly concerned about this anymore. France just stack wiped another army here, and they're going again. That one didn't stack wipe, but this one might. That one stack wiped. France has got this under control at this point. We can see that France is now in a... Okay, this is Piedmont directly. This is the French war goal, or war score, which is -6. So Piedmont, they're the ones who were declared on, and the HRE is at plus 26 here. So 23 of those are from battles. So they have ticking. Okay. But honestly, looks like Navarre pieced out of this war. Yes, they did. The HRE may be looking to white piece France at this time, and I think everything is looking good here, theoretically. -6 is still not ideal, but France has got this under control. Yeah, that's definitely making progress there. So now -3. And France should be starting to push into the HRE now. This is a little awkward here with the British army here, but the French are also sieging this. The British army is just black flagged for some reason here. I'm not entirely sure why, but okay, now they just vanished. Maybe they hopped onto these ships or something? No, they couldn't have. I don't know where that British army went. Maybe they disbanded it. That would be a weird thing to do. Their number didn't go down. Presumably, we just don't see them anymore. So that's looking fine. France is now on the offensive over here. So it's still -3, technically. And a lot of that is going to be due to ticking war score at this point. We can check in on Piedmont, and we can see the HRE is up to 33 in ticking war score. And that's understood. Defender has won enough battles. 23 war score from battles, plus 4.8. Wait, so that means that ticking war score... Right, I was reading this inverted. We're at plus 33. Piedmont is now considered to be winning the war. That's very good. We want doom to come to the HRE, because the HRE is a large section. And, ooh, this is a very awkward place for these guys to spawn. We're going to walk down over here, and we're going to hop onto boats, and we're going to sail down to Tatooine. The good news is we did get a morale bump there. So we're just going to walk directly in here. This will be on 12 January. That's okay. Lose 100 ducks? Sure, that's fine. Okay, so that's handled, and we're going to walk back up over to Palermo. No. You're going to come pick these up. There we go. Cool. And then we're going to get back to sieging. If I can select these. There we go. Cool. So, back in on this war that France is in. France is still technically at -3, but that's not enough for the HRE to make demands. And we appear to be in a good position here. So trade efficiency plus 15% and 50 dip power, or 7,000 ducats. The question has to be asked, what are we planning to spend those ducats on? There's not a lot that we can spend them on. So I'm leaning towards the long-term investment here. So that'll be fine for the moment. Now, revolutionary ideas will have in August of this year, so that's a very big deal. The HRE's fleet is currently being wrecked by this British Columbian fleet. That's pretty funny. And at this point, yeah, France is now positive here. So France was losing that war on their own. The turning point was absolutely Scandinavia and Great Britain declaring a separate war. That's great. We do not want France to be weakened too much. So this is good. At this point, I think France is going to walk away with this with maybe a little bit of... Whoa, that's a lot of troops that they just spawned. Okay, they were recruiting in almost every province that they hold. Well, they did have a lot of manpower, so... Wow. The HRE just left the military coalition against us. So, I don't think that's because they no longer have the aggressive expansion, right? Yeah, the aggressive expansion is still at 58. They left because they're down to 297k troops. They have other problems. That's why they left. So, we still need to chill. Although I wouldn't mind maybe picking up some HRE provinces by attacking down over here. Scandinavia's defender of the Catholic faith, but they wouldn't join right now. This is interesting. We have no diplomats to send. I'm going to pull this one back. I am very tempted to coattail the HRE at this moment. I am very, very tempted to coattail them. I think we should. So I'm going to get into a position a little bit here. These guys, they're all going to be bothered by the French up over here. So let's give it a moment for the French to clean out this area a little bit so that we don't have to deal with it. There we go. And now I want to declare a coattail war on the HRE. They should not have left this coalition. Thrace would join them. Scandinavia will not. I don't know why Thrace would join them. Aren't they at war with Thrace? Hang on. I thought that they were at war with Thrace. Oh, Thrace is defending the HRE from Scandinavia. Okay, doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and declare this, and we'll see what we can get before we have to sneak out. So this would be contain hegemon, and that's the same as imperialism. Okay. I don't want to show superiority. I just want to do an imperialism CB here. Okay. Honestly, we're not going to commit most of our armies to this. We're going to keep these guys drilling. We are going to keep these guys drilling. I'll have our forts up for now, but all of these units back here, I'm going to keep in reserve for the moment. Because the HRE is stretched really, really thin right now. This is the time to coattail. So we're going to head in here. We're going to head in here. Actually, I'm going to have this force head in here while this force heads up over this way. So we're looking to get some of these Italian provinces out of this at this time. Thrace, I'm not very concerned about at all. They are these guys right here, so that's not concerning. Okay. So we've taken over Urbino. We also lost the Siege of Lika. I'm not surprised about that. We're going to head up over this way. It's very, very hard to see the difference for me between Piedmont and us. This is a very similar color to my colorblind eyes, but I can see a slight blue tinge out over here. So as long as I'm looking, it should be okay, in theory. So we're going to take over a bunch of these areas down here, but we're kind of blocked up over here by Piedmont, and we're kind of waiting for this war to end. The HRE is absolutely going to want to exit that war. There's no doubt about that. Now, we are definitely losing money at this moment, and that's absolutely understood. And I want to have these guys walk around and just stick themselves up over here for now. Actually, I kind of want to go take back Lika. Or head over to here. We're very much shielded by the French army here, so we can operate with relative impunity down here for now. There should be a stable government. Yes, there should. Okay, so at this point, the French started up a siege here. That's fine for the moment. Abkhazia left the military coalition against us. So this seems good. This is a really good opportunity for us, for sure. I want to grab this admin tech. This is going to give us 20% production efficiency and will likely bring us back to positive financially. So that looks good. We need to keep an eye out because this is an opportunistic war. We don't want to prosecute this war, potentially, if the others aren't doing their war. We'll see what state the HRE is in. It's not going to be pretty, I'm pretty sure. So we won the siege here, and I'm just going to park these guys up over here for now. I don't want to take attrition, and there's not really anywhere over here to attack at the moment. We could think about taking territory further down this way, maybe. Because I am still concerned about getting too much aggressive expansion with France. That is a concern. So we'll see how we want that to go. But for now, I'm content with this. We'll see when this war is going to end. We can see that Piedmont is currently at 57 war score. The AI may choose to peace out largely at any time. The HRE did occupy down here, but I don't care. Whatever. Battle of the Straits of Gibraltar. Okay. Sure. They tried to run 3 transports through our lightship fleet for some reason. I'm not sure what they were trying to do with that, to be honest. So we're going to have another siege ending here fairly soon. There we go. This siege is done. We're at 1% war score at this point. And keep in mind, our goal is to take their capital. And their capital is Kachi. Where is that? Yeah, that's not going to happen. So we're not going to do that anytime soon. That's fine. We just need to get 10 war score here in order to make demands. And then they'll probably be pretty willing to just give us a little bit of territory, and then we can just peace out. That's the idea here, anyway. So this siege is progressing. The French are currently in charge of it. Yeah, the French are in charge of it. So we'll see how that goes. I wouldn't mind moving out over here, but we can't get there. We're blocked by this fort. So we need to make our way towards Lika at the moment. I'm honestly a little surprised that the French war isn't over yet. The HRE is getting crushed right now. They are down to... They've still got 300,000 troops. That's more troops than what we have here right now. But they are absolutely getting crushed. And it's going to take them a very long time to recover. We might actually be fine to prosecute this war on our own. Like, after all this ends. We'll see. We can celebrate a festival, which I'm interested in doing, and we keep not quite taking this fort. We're really, really close. Yeah, these fronts are starting to come together up over here, and it's getting spicy, for sure. There's a lot of coattailing happening, and we are among it, and that's great. One of these days, this will end. I want to get these guys somewhere where they're not taking attrition. Let's just move them down over here. Ooh, a free stability. Yes, please. That's fantastic. Okay, so we won this one. We're going to make our way out over here. We have no leader here, though, and we should probably roll one. That's a truly mediocre leader. Okay, that's very sad. So that means that the French are going to be in charge of this siege as well. For the moment, that's okay. I'm not terribly concerned. We did just lose our leader here. We need to roll a new one. That's also a pretty mediocre leader. This is 75 and 78, so we need to build the supply depot here and get these guys back to drilling. Okay, so that looks good. We are taking attrition here, and we expect that. I'm going to rebuild our supply depot there to reduce the attrition, but it's going to be rough pretty much no matter what. So we're taking attrition there, there, and there. Okay, that should be fine. So everything looks good on that front. Now that we've got that under control, I'm hoping that our manpower is positive. I think it is. So that looks fine. What's the HRE at? 345k. Yeah, that's not looking good for them. So we'll grab a little bit of territory here, and then we'll go take back Lika. We're just not really in a position where we can attack anywhere right now, other than what we have down here, which isn't very significant, and we need to wait for some of these other wars to end. So we'll see what happens there, specifically the French War. We'd like the French War to end. So this siege is continuing up here. That looks relatively fine. We can set an agenda here, which I think we should do. The rabbis are pretty upset still. So what do they want? Religion in Albenga is Jewish. Sure. We want that too. Are we currently converting here? No, we have no missionaries to send at this moment. So Albenga would be this. We're about done with this one. So that'll be fine. 17 months. No big deal. Okay, we just completed that one, and we ended this siege up over here. So the French are going up this way. I want to go siege at Lika. So that's what we're going to do. We're holding fairly steady on our manpower levels. Actually, I think they're going up slightly now that we no longer are stacked with that big French army. So that seems reasonably good. And for now, there's not too much to do other than just wait for this to be done and maybe head down this direction. Actually, that's not a bad idea. We can have an army head here and then an army head down this way. So we'll just have these guys sit down in Salento for right now while this fleet heads over and we can start sieging down here. So that's all looking good. Where are you guys going? Oh, you're just walking. Okay, sure. We'll sail down to Salento. Now, if this ends and the HRE just starts running at us, we might have some problems because we're going to be pretty spread out here. Also, apparently Thrace has a small fleet here. Where's our combat fleet? Our combat fleet should be down here. We'll send it over. Our transports are not going to be doing so hot down there, right? So that's absolutely understood. We have no leadership here. We should roll up a new leader. And I believe we lost leadership somewhere else, too. Oh. The HRE is attacking us over here. I mean, we lost that battle, but that's because we didn't have anything over here. We were drilling. We're retreating up to Techie. That's an awkward retreat. In that case, I'm going to have these guys stop. I'm going to group them together. And we're going to have them wander on up over this way. So that'll be fine. And we've now got this force here. We did lose a couple of our transports. That's very sad. Why are we at negative 3,000 ducats right now? What? What just happened? Did I click something accidentally? Maybe. We need to sell Crownland. Okay. So the Holy Roman Empire has occupied Haditha. That's expected. And we just lost our trader. Okay, so we should probably replenish him, or replace him, I should say. These are terrible. Okay, we'll hold off on that. So we're currently marching up over this way, and we'll get there soon enough. We're currently fighting some Holy Roman... Oh, they have a revolution ongoing right now. Okay, a Holy Roman Revolutionary Army. Sure. Portugal is now willing to join us in our war against the HRE. Sure. So Portugal has now joined us in our war against the HRE, and that's fantastic. I don't think France will be able to. I think they'll be truced once they finish their war, so that's understood. So we're just going to work on taking some of this territory out over here, and unfortunately, this fleet here is just not big enough to transport these guys all the way over. No, not the 4th fleet. That's this fleet. We want to attach what we can here. And then we're going to come out over here, and then we're going to land those 76 units here. And then these guys are going to have to follow through. Farsi particularists out over here, we don't care. That's fine. So we're going to attack down over this direction, take a bunch of territory in theory, and get ourselves some war score rolling. We can't get war score up over here, so our choices are limited. Portugal is in this, though, and they will probably not do too much at this point. Portugal's probably looking at this and saying, there's not really much for us to do, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong at all. So we're going to head in over here. I think we just stack wiped that HRE army, but I didn't read that. So maybe we did, maybe we didn't. We're going to move these guys in over here and we're going to siege. But it is about time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to see what we can take from the HRE without France getting all upsetty in their spaghetti at us. Hopefully it will be a decent chunk. We'll find out. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes. They're no longer the economic hegemony. Okay, this war is over. Noted. That's a significant alteration to the outcome of our war. So I want to move these guys up over here. But the French are done. The Scandinavians are not. But as I was saying, a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including... I haven't actually switched over to the scene yet, so here we go. ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge, Eskiel, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.